Today I will be presenting the issue of whether online schooling or in-person schooling promotes better learning capabilities in colleges and public schools. In the following 3 articles, the dispute reveals that both methods of teaching have their benefits, showing that online learning is adaptable to many different students' learning styles, is more convenient for some students, and can improve students' work ethic. On the other hand, in-person learning can be more effective at teaching students mastery, maintaining students' focus, and providing them with help in their classes. Research has proven that in some areas, online classes can cause students to struggle with their grades, and focusing on class can become difficult for some students when online. I agree with elements from both methods and believe that a combination of each learning method would be best for students to absorb and understand the maximum amount of material from classes. The first article, titled Why Online Learning is Better Than Face-to-Face Learning, written by the Study International staff, claims that online learning is standing out as the better option in many ways. The authors explained how advanced online learning has become engaging and just as interactive as in-person learning. This appeals to the logical thinker who might focus on the lack of personal interaction in virtual classrooms. The author also claims that online learning allows students to learn at their own pace and that online classes allow students more time to absorb the material, which is accommodating for students who need more time to process new material. This is a logical appeal for those that are concerned with not being able to keep pace with classes. Another point made in the article is how students of all personality types can thrive online and learn to discipline themselves to do work on time, which prepares them for the real world. Then, to support his claims and build credibility, the author quotes a former graduate student who said that online classes allowed her to perfect her writing and discussions and present them better, which relates to students who are worried about presentations and other in-class things. The second article, How Effective is Online Learning? What the Research Does and Doesn't Tell Us, written by Susanna Loeb, writes that clearly, online time cannot provide many of the informal social interactions students have at school. But how will online courses do in terms of moving student learning forward? Which shows that her main topic is how effective online classes are at teaching. The author then goes on to write how online courses provide opportunities for students. Students in a school that doesn't offer statistics classes may be able to learn statistics with virtual lessons, showing how online classes sometimes benefit students. Then claiming that students who struggle in in-person classes are likely to struggle even more online, but that high-performing students take little notice of the change between online and in-person class. This was discovered from a study the author and her Stanford colleagues conducted on college students. This builds credibility and logically shows one of the drawbacks of online learning to the audience. Then the author explains that the online setting may have more distractions and less oversight, resulting in reduced motivation and focus, which is yet another logical reason to choose in-person classes. However, the author also acknowledges that we may be skeptical of online learning, but it is also time to embrace and improve it, because whatever the drawbacks, the circumstances have forced everyone to convert all classes to fully online learning. The third article, Face-to-Face Learning is Better Than Online, by Darian Pitt, takes the stance that in-person learning is a superior choice for the learning environment. The author first begins by explaining how he himself as a student has suffered from the recent shift from in-person to totally virtual because of the COVID-19 pandemic, which builds his credibility as a source. Then the author states that as much as a student may try, there will always be distractions right at their fingertips. When at home and not in a school setting, people tend to unwind and become lazy since they have the comfort of their own property. Online learning requires much more discipline and self-motivation to stay on task, which shows the biggest shortcoming of online learning. The author's point is valid because in school it is much harder to become distracted. And while the in-person classroom is not completely free of distractions, a person's room or other places where they attend online classes can be swarming with distractions. Another important point the author makes is that some classes cannot be taught online. Science classes are a great example, as it is often necessary to complete a lab to understand the material, which is another flaw involved with online learning. Hands-on work is nearly impossible online. This appeals to kinesthetic learners especially. The author acknowledges that online learning is better than no learning, but regardless, it is not as effective as face-to-face classes. I will be supporting the stance that elements from all three articles are correct. And while a blend of both methods of teaching might not be possible now, I believe it would be the most effective option for teaching in public and higher education schools. This combination would allow all types of students to learn at their own pace, with their own style, and with the least amount of pressures from the struggles either type of learning methods present. Online learning may allow students time to process material. However, the author of the first article fails to address the fact that, as mentioned in the third article, the increased presence of distractions that are only a click away increases the amount of time spent being unproductive and unfocused on classes. In my own year of online learning, I have found that distractions are present online now more than ever, and with that adding to social media, games, friends, etc., the amount of downtime while trying to be productive and focused grows greatly. However, as the second article points out, online learning can provide some students with classes that would not be available otherwise, and can possibly teach self-discipline to students. I see these as the positive effects of online learning because a class with distractions is still an opportunity to learn and discipline yourself. On the other hand, some classes cannot be taken online. Chemistry, physics, and others require labs to be in person, and many students do not yet have the knowledge to discipline themselves to do their work on time. In my experience, the best classes have been able to combine the face-to-face and online learning benefits, such as a class that has in-person meeting times as well as a recorded lecture so that people can engage in class, focus, and receive the teaching from a professor, while they also can watch the lecture over again to further their processing of the material if they need it. In conclusion, the best way to conduct classes would be a combination of online and face-to-face classes. One where students can engage and focus without distractions, but also work at their own pace and be able to review lectures. The classes should also provide opportunities for online classes that might not be possible elsewhere. They should teach self-discipline, but also have oversight from a teacher who can encourage students to stay on track with their work. While all of this is easier said than done, I believe that better cooperation and communication between teachers, students, and institutions will allow for the best possible learning environment to be created. Thank you.